Have you ever gone back to something you loved and felt strangely sad? Maybe it was an old video game, an old song, or a place you used to visit all the time. You spent years missing it, thinking about it, wondering what it would feel like to experience it again. Then one day you finally go back and somehow it doesn't feel right. The game is the same, the music is the same, and the place is also the same. So what's missing? For a long time I thought I was missing the video game, but eventually I realized something much stranger. The thing I was actually missing wasn't the game at all. Why we miss the past? Well, it's simple, right? Everything was better back then. You didn't have as many responsibilities back then, and you had more free time, and in general, you just didn't worry at all. Or at least it seems that way. Yeah, sure, there are times in your life where you were a kid and you had more time. But there is this beautiful thing about the past where everything that was good is even better in hindsight, and everything that was bad is just gone when you look back. That makes it really easy to miss old times, even though when you look back on it closely, maybe they didn't even exist the way you remember. Now, I know what you might be thinking. What do you mean didn't exist? I was there, I know it existed. Yes, fair point. But sometimes I wonder why things only seem to be good when looking back. Do you ever catch yourself wondering why beautiful moments aren't as enjoyable right when they're happening? It's almost as if the human brain can't appreciate the moment for what it is, but always has to look back on it and paint it in a beautiful way. Maybe that's also why so many people would rather record the concert they are at instead of enjoying it with their own eyes. That's kinda messed up in my opinion. Although, to be honest, I don't have much experience with concerts anyway. Hasn't really been my thing up until now. But back to my point, maybe the concert wasn't even that great. Still good, but not like this is the best thing that ever happened to me. But funnily enough, in a few years it probably is one of the best experiences you ever had. That seems so strange to me. Why is our brain tricking us into preferring the past? Is it because we already know the outcome? I think it's a combination of things. On one hand, I feel like it's definitely because we already know that the concert went well and that everything surrounding it was good as well. So the worry you sometimes have in life is gone when you look back. Your brain can just turn off since it knows everything went well. On the other hand, I think it's also about comfort. It doesn't take much effort to just enjoy old memories, things you know. After all, we humans are afraid of the unknown, and the past is definitely something we know. The feeling we keep chasing. So you want that feeling back. You want to achieve this glorious and comfortable feeling of the past. But right now, in the moment. I always wondered, and still do on occasion, if that's even entirely possible. Sometimes it just really feels like no matter how beautiful a moment can be, looking back on it in a few months is even better. Except that feeling is then accompanied by sadness because it's gone. Seems really unfair. But that sadness motivates us sometimes to chase good memories. We go out into the world searching for opportunities to make great memories, so we can put those memories on a shelf in our brain and go back to them whenever we can. Personally, I do that a lot. I have a lot of beautiful memories of certain video game experiences, for example. Hearing the Skyrim soundtrack for the first time, or starting to explore Hyrule in Breath of the Wild, or even older gaming memories. With one of these more recent moments, I remember specifically when experiencing such a moment, I thought to myself, oh, this will be great to look back on. And for years my mind worked like that. And to be honest, it still does. But isn't that kind of wrong? People always say it's so important to make memories. That is true. But I think not enough people tell you that it's equally important to live in the moment, enjoying it just for what it is that very second. Because if not, it can easily lead into just creating memories and then only liking them when looking back. That makes me really unhappy over a long time. Because then there's also guilt. I didn't enjoy this enough, I wish I could go back to re-experience this, and so on. Only to just repeat the same mistake over and over again. The last few years I took meticulous care in spending more time with my family. I'm lucky to still have my parents, and I'm even more grateful for it since I never had any grandparents. There are moments I remember with my family that are only a few months old, but when thinking back to these moments it's almost as if I'm already grieving them, and that really bothers me. So I really make sure to enjoy every second I have with them, or at least I'm trying, forcing myself to only think about the moment itself, to just spend time with them for the sake of spending time, nothing else. Maybe for everyone else this is completely normal, but I really struggle with enjoying a moment for what it is. And I'm still working on it, but I think I'm getting there. It really has become one of my main priorities in life in recent years. You're not missing the game. I still remember so many gaming experiences. Sometimes this is the main source of nostalgia in my life. Especially video game music can hit very hard. I clearly remember playing Skyrim for the first time. My dad buying the game for me, bringing it home and playing it for the first time on my old Xbox 360. Great times. Hearing the beautiful soundtrack and seeing the hyper-realistic graphics, it really was back then, for the first time was so great. At the same time, it makes me feel very sad. That's just nostalgia though. But the game is still there. The beautiful music is still beautiful and the graphics, well, they're also still there. So I can just boot up Skyrim again and enjoy it like I did back then, right? I can re-experience these memories and make new ones. That's the beautiful thing about video games. They are mostly preserved and you can go back anytime you want. Except it doesn't feel the same way. Sometimes you get even sadder. It's the same world, same music, everything is the same, but the big difference is you are not the same. And that's the problem. The game was only the stage on which that memory took place. You were the actor on that stage, and that actor changes and evolves every day. So even though I can go back to Skyrim as many times as I want, the thing I'm missing is still gone forever. I am missing a version of myself that just doesn't exist anymore. And that's okay, but it's important to be aware of that. If you haven't made that realization yet, some of your favorite games probably turned into something you can't play again because you always get so sad for no apparent reason. One thing I love about video games, movies and books is that I can always go back to the story. I can always re-experience it. As soon as I know that for some reason I can't own a video game or a book, I struggle with finding motivation to consume it. This knowing that I can always go back to it gives me peace. But over the years that aspect has changed a bit. I still like the fact that I can always go back to it, but I don't look at it like I can always have the same experience again. Because that's not true. I can't always go back to the version I was back then. So instead, I try to look at it this way. I can always go back and create a new, beautiful experience of something I know I love. This is only slightly different, but for me personally, it makes a huge difference. And that's what helped me to miss old games less, because I know they're still there, and I know that only part of that old experience is actually the game. The other part is me, and I have moved on. But I can experience the game again with a new version of myself. Why memories play tricks on us. Memories aren't really all that nice. They are actively tricking us into thinking they were great. Now, of course, most of the memories were actually good, but like I already mentioned, maybe not as good as you think. You probably know about rose-tinted glasses, right? I personally get annoyed every time I hear it, but because I'm hearing it so much, there has to be some truth to it. One thing that really changed my look on memories was this. A memory is not a playback of a video. It's always a reconstruction. We don't have a bunch of MP4 files in our brain that we can replay anytime we want. No, when you go back to think about something, your brain has to rebuild that memory every time. So everything you experienced years ago gets rebuilt by your current brain. So then, is it really a memory from back then? I think that's exactly where it gets interesting. The more often you go back to a memory, the more it changes and gets rebuilt. And when that happens over years, all kinds of different versions of yourself rebuild all of your memories. This gets even worse when this is a shared memory and you talk with a friend or family member about it. Both of your perfect memories that you rebuilt over years feed each other, making the memory even more powerful. On top of that, we often remember how we felt in that moment and not even really the moment itself. How many times did you try to recreate a moment, doing something you loved again, but it just felt hollow? That's exactly what I mean. The thing you're missing is how you felt when you were in that moment and not the thing you did itself. Sometimes you can actually recreate something like that. For example, spending time again with a friend you haven't seen in a long time. But even then, the moment probably gets better and better over time. So really, the irony is that the thing we try to find again probably hasn't even existed in the exact same way we think it did. Just keep that in mind. The comfort of looking back. It's just so nice to look back and know what will happen in those memories. Like watching a comfort movie or playing your comfort game. A lot of people do that with memories. And it isn't necessarily unhealthy, but it can be over time. Everything in the past already happened, obviously. But therefore we know how things went down, what happened, and you can look forward to the things in that memory itself. It's similar to imagining something before falling asleep, like going out with your crush, for example. In that scenario, everything happens the way you want. You do that same thing unconsciously with memories. You already know the full story. No wonder then that it's way more comfortable than life right now. On top of that, old memories demand nothing of you. They just exist for you to explore and enjoy. That's not the case with real life. It's stressful and unpredictable. You never really know for certain what will happen the next second, and that makes it scary and less comfortable than memories. Now, before I mentioned how this looking back in comfort can be bad. If you only live in the past, that's where mental well-being goes down the drain. But missing the past and on occasion even preferring it is normal. That's totally okay, as long as you know why you prefer it. It's mostly not because it was actually better, but because you reshaped it into something better. If you keep that in mind and actually try to live in the moment as much as possible, that's okay and not unhealthy at all. But you can get lost in the past, which is not good. When nostalgia becomes a trap. If you catch yourself thinking about times long gone every day, yeah, maybe that's not so great. The majority of your thoughts throughout the day should be about that day. Nostalgia is bittersweet. It's beautiful but so very dangerous for your health. I sometimes try to think about it this way. The only thing that really exists is the very moment I'm living right now. You may think that that's obvious, but let's go further. Everything that is in the future hasn't happened yet, right? And it's not for certain either. There are things that could change your life completely if they were to happen. Obviously, some things are less likely to happen than others, but it's possible. So you have the choice to change your future. It hasn't happened yet. With the past, it's the same way, but the other way around. Everything has already happened. You can change nothing about it, except the way you look at things. And as we know, your brain already does that by itself. But what's important is this: the past is over. It, just like the future, doesn't exist. Time is only right now. The past only exists in your head and nowhere else. And if I think about it that way, I have two choices. I can get even more anxious, thinking how everything is so uncertain and instantly gone. Or I can try to change my thinking and say, okay then, the past was nice, but I'm living right now, so let's actually live. On top of that, you can tell yourself that no matter if you consciously do it or not, new memories will always be made anyway. You don't have to actively create them, you can try to actually live the moment, because the memories will come, but the moment goes, so enjoy the moment. Why the present never feels good enough. This goes hand in hand with the last point. Stop trying to create nostalgia. That's not how life should work. People often say, go make memories, and that's not wrong, but also not quite right. You will make memories by doing things, correct, but you shouldn't go out and create memories, in my opinion. That way you fall back into the same trap of living only to later look back onto these moments. You stop enjoying the now and everything goes over your head. That's how life becomes so fast. It's because you don't enjoy the quiet moments, the times where it's not exciting. When you look back onto memories that were quiet and relaxing, you realize you weren't bored back then, even though in the moment you definitely were. Because looking back onto peace when you're in a phase where everything is chaotic feels so relieving. So if you get quiet moments in the present, try to enjoy them. It can feel like the present is never as good as the past, but that's because you make the past better than it actually was and don't give the present time a chance to prove you wrong. Of course, like I already said at the beginning, there are some things that were actually better. You had more time in your childhood, and there are some gaming memories that will never come back. But, in my opinion, they could come back, but just in a different way. I think it's mostly about mindset, because if you haven't guessed by now, I struggle immensely with nostalgia. I always used to call it nostalgic depression, because every time I felt nostalgia, I got incredibly sad, even to the point where I really wasn't living in the present anymore. I thought about better times every day. Once I was playing World of Warcraft and thought about how I used to watch this one Twitch streamer late at night, while playing an expansion that is now long gone. I got so sad thinking about these times, even though in this very moment I was also playing the game. And guess what? Looking back at it now, I am nostalgic about this sadness I had back then, or at least that moment. So, while I was reminiscing about the past, I was creating memories. Weird, huh? So instead I could have tried to enjoy playing the game in that very moment instead of being sad, and maybe the memory would have been even better. Who knows? The cost of living in the past. So, by now we know that living in the past is bad, but let's look at what it actually does for your life. One of these things that bothers me the most is missing opportunities. That goes for both social opportunities and career opportunities. If you are not focused on the now, maybe you walk past your future partner. Because you're always in your head, you don't even notice the girl staring at you every day at the train station. Yes, this is very cliché, but still. The same thing goes for a family dinner. You don't know how many of these dinners you got left, and by living in the past, you're not fully enjoying your family, your life. In a few years you look back and think, why didn't I enjoy this more? Well, because back then you were thinking the same thing about the past. Everything will go away. Even the things you are certain will never be gone. They can vanish. What if you used all this energy not for the past, but for the future? For example, by working hard at your current job or learning a new skill that will give you a job opportunity you only ever dreamed of. You can always reminisce about the past here and there, but don't make it your entire personality. Don't make it your life. What the past is trying to teach you. Now, let's look at the good side of nostalgia and memories. Because if you can keep the reminiscing to a healthy amount, the past can actually teach you quite a lot. For example, let's say you miss a game you spent a lot of time in. On the one hand, you definitely miss the person you were back then, but maybe also the game. So if you're able to go and play that game again with a better mindset, then that might even benefit you. Because maybe now you're able to approach a replay of a game with less emotional baggage than before. Actually enjoying the game again for what it is and not to reclaim some kind of experience you had back then. At the same time, the nostalgia of the game teaches you that you may be missing the feeling of wonder. The first time you walked into that big city in a game, where you were awestruck by its scale and music. Maybe you just need another experience like that, but from another game. At the same time, missing your childhood could just be that you miss curiosity and freedom. So try to get that back. Because it's possible, but maybe at a smaller scale. You need to find ways to make these possible in a way that works for you. At the same time, missing family moments may show you just how much you love them. And maybe that's obvious for you, but it's still nice to feel it and realize that. At least for me. The strange thing about nostalgia is that it convinces us our best moments are behind us. But if this video has taught me anything, it's that the people we used to be are always disappearing. The kid who first played Skyrim is gone. The version of me who stayed up too late watching Twitch streams and playing World of Warcraft is gone too. And one day the person sitting here making this video will be gone as well. That's not sad, that's life. Every memory I missed today was once just an ordinary day that I didn't think much about. Which means that somewhere in my life right now I'm probably living through future nostalgia again. Maybe you are too. So instead of trying to get the past back, maybe the better option is to give our future selves something worth remembering. The past will always be there, but right now won't. So let's actually live it. Let me know what your experience is with nostalgia down in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope this video was helpful or at least entertaining. Have a wonderful day.